Lights.
Camera.
Watch.
Poor things.
Watch.
I want you to go first.
You want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
So I absolutely hated like the movie when I started watching it. There was moments that I'm like, fuck, I just want to fall asleep. And you probably noticed I was kind of dozing off in the movie theater. Maybe you didn't.
I didn't notice at all.
Okay. But I was just like, I was really like, okay, this is going to be a cringe movie. And I can just sense like, it's like an artsy fartsy movie that like, oh, it's going to be so deep and all this other shit. Then I'm pretty sure it's all deep and all this other shit. But I grew to absolutely love it. And it was so endearing at the end.
Yeah. I do have to say in the first like couple shots in the beginning, I was like, oh, is this what we're doing? Like... I was hoping for more of a fun journey, but then it became the fun journey I was expecting. Because like the opening where it's just like all black and white and they're just in the house, and it doesn't start with like her how she's formed. She's just like kind of already there, and she's with Willem Dafoe, and you don't really know what's happening other than like she's like special.
Yeah, you think like she thinks she's like on the spectrum, has a disability, because in the beginning of the movie you see her all elegantly and looking down. And I thought that was like a future version of herself, but spoiler alert, that's the past.
Yep.
So when I watched this movie as we were watching it, I thought it was a combination of like a Wes Anderson movie and what's that other dude that did Edward Scissorhands? Tim Burton. I thought like they kind of had like a love child for a moment. Do you get that vibe?
I get, but I think this is also like nothing I've ever seen before, and it's so uniquely itself.
I agree, but but you have to say like the type of movies that I like to watch. You could totally be like, yo, Sev is like, what did I drag this guy into?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because the moment when we watch Aquaman 2, you're gonna be in
I'm gonna be rolling my eyes, dude. I'm gonna be like, I cannot believe I'm in this movie theater.
But
okay, I've dragged you to some stuff this year.
But to say like all the stuff you've dragged me pretty much has been very solid.
Boom.
Like no, it's legitly like and everything I've told you. I
haven't had a miss yet. That's all I'm saying.
Look, I will also say that I feel like time will also shine brightly on this movie now.
Yeah.
I mean later in the future, because regardless if you whether watch it or not, I feel like a lot of people are gonna have like situations where like I was like the first 30 minutes or an hour, like you kind of feel like, yo, fuck this, I'm like, this is terrible, I'm leaving. And I honestly felt really annoyed at the movie. Like, but it was until later on you discover why she is the way she is, where it's like, wow, that was really smart, and like nobody knew what it was,
Yeah, because it's like at the end of the day, it's a movie about a baby inside of a corpse. But it's also about like, like what's it mean to be alive?
Yes.
And like what is free will and what is growing up? And like it has a lot of built ideas, but like the core of it is just so absolutely absurd of like, I found this dead woman in the river, could have saved her, decided, why don't I do science? Cut open her baby, take its brain and put it in the almost dead person to see if we can create life, which is something else.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's Frankenstein.
This is the most scary Willem Dafoe has ever looked and the least scary he's ever been.
I will argue with you that I thought he was beautiful. I really
That's
thought...
very sweet.
No, I really generally thought, like, even though it was, like, horrific...
Have you seen him burp?
Yeah, several times in the movie. I thought he actually had, like, very soft features. I felt like he very much was, like, a scarred person. Because if you've ever read Frankenstein, he's, like, a tortured soul. You know what I mean? But what I wanted to ask the question to the director, and I don't know if the answer was given, and it was oblivious to me, was it a boy baby brain inside a woman's body?
Oh.
That's the only thing that was on my mind.
I didn't even consider that.
You know why I considered that? Because when she was going through, and again, I can be told it's not that girls are not like that, or it's only boys. Like, when she just learns to masturbate, I just thought about like a 12-year-old boy that just learned how to...
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean?
I'd like to think it more as like framed through a woman finding liberation, but honestly, like, that could also be accurate.
Because like a lot of the features were like masculine. It's like, yo, I'm just gonna go bang a lot. I'm gonna like, fuck you, mom and dad. Like, I'm out. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna go live my life and do whatever I want. And it was like a lot of disregard. But that also comes to me in the sense of like, imagine if you started your life at a blank slate with a fully developed human body.
Yeah.
How would you conduct yourself? You know, if like, imagine you're a baby and you're like already like 21. You know, like, would you go, because part of like the maturing part is like your body's changing, but like your body's already developed, you know, and you're already amassing like this body.
Well, she's also like growing very quickly, because at the very start of the movie she can barely even say like God.
Yeah.
And then like towards the end of the movie she's smarter than all of them put together.
Yes.
Watching like her outgrow Mark Ruffalo's character of like her being like, you're stupid. It's like so funny, because like that is a child corpse.
Yes. I have to say my favorite character was Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, he's fucking hilarious in this movie.
And like in the beginning I hated him. I'm like, you charlatan, you piece of shit. You know, you came in, you swooped in, you saw like this girl.
So he swooped in and stole her from like the nice man, but like the nice man knew that was a child.
Yeah, he already had this information from the beginning.
But at that point she was still so young, and like I understand that like Willem Dafoe's character like talks him into marrying her as like a safety precaution kind of thing.
Yeah, like, married my daughter, you're a good guy.
But was like also like excited about it, and again like he knows that is a child.
Yeah. So
like her leaving him wasn't like the worst thing, but like Mark Ruffalo's character is literally evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he also just like prays like, oh, like I'm what you're looking for, I'm experience, I'm adventure, and then,
but you're just nothing. You're really just like, you're a fuckboy.
Yep.
You're the OG fuckboy.
Immediately he says like, against high society, like their first thing they do is like that ballroom table thing where he's like, oh, you're acting inappropriately, you can't speak like that. And it's like, didn't she follow you to like escape all those norms?
Yes. It's just convenient for when the character needs it to be convenient for them, but other than that, they want this liberated, like free-spirited, like fuck all this, let's just bang each other and do whatever we want. It was really interesting when she discovers like what sex is, and like she starts like trying to like furious jumping, but like it also starts with like she like tries to like touch the maid's like vagina and be like, look, I can help you, make you feel good, you know. It's like, don't touch my hairy something, whatever it does. But
and when she comes back and the maid's just like, the whore's back.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in the beginning of the movie, like you didn't really understand, like you really had to grow with the movie to really like if I watch this a second time, I feel like I would laugh way more. Yeah. Knowing what I know now.
This is really funny. Like, in the beginning, I like just did not know how to feel about it, but it is like a brilliantly written dark comedy.
Yeah. A lot of people were laughing around us, and I'm like, wait, this is kind of inappropriate. Like, should I be laughing? Like, and it kind of works when you're in a movie. It
warms you up to it, and you're like, oh no, this is funny.
Yeah, when you realize that she's become so self-aware of who she is and well-rounded as a person, it's like now you can laugh at the jokes. But in the beginning, it's like you're sort of like laughing at a disabled person or like a child. Yeah. You know, it's like, I don't want to laugh at this. I feel like a dick, you know? But I really I can't figure out like the apprentice, the guy's name, who he was.
I have no idea what his name is.
He's like who he was. He could have been like, he's like kind of like an afterthought in the movie too. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
He's kind of like
Max.
He kind of reminds me of like the opposite version of like the lady in waiting, you know, while she goes and explores and conquers the world. Mm-hmm. And while he's just the lady in waiting for her to come back and wed him and like, just like have a life to themselves.
I like when she tells Mark Ruffalo's character, he's like, marry me, and she's like, oh, I have a fiance. Yeah. And he knew, he was there for the paperwork.
It's like, you're writing this paper because you know what, he thought he was such hot shit that he's like, look, I'm gonna get this girl, I'm gonna inherit this money that this dude has, and like this is prime real estate for me. And it's like, this girl is just so simple-minded, and all she wants to do is just like fuck. Yep. It's like, this is perfect. It's his dream. It's his dream. But what he realizes that like, to get that, also
he does the same thing they do and like locks her away.
Yeah, it's ironic. Like she in multiple times in the movie thinks like, oh, I'm gonna kidnap you. Like, it's like, no, I'm actually going at my own free will. I just really like.
She's locked in 3 different places in this movie.
Yes. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say, like, I felt like this movie probably has like some Greek tragedies or stories or like mythologies of like a person finding themselves. Like they keep getting captured and being taken prisoner until like in the end they realize, like, you know, when she's getting married, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come and find out who I am. And then when she finds out, it's like, oh fuck, how do I get out of this mess? Yeah, it was just her. Can we talk about the cinematography and like the sets? It is gonna be competition for Barbie at the Oscars this year. I think it's gonna be between these two for production design. So what I liked about Barbie's production design, it was all real. Yeah. So was Oppenheimer's. Oppenheimer's stuff was all real. Now this had moments of great, like when they were in Lisbon was gorgeous. And I know there was some CGI and stuff like that. Because it's like, it takes place in the past, but it's like a weird alternate, like future past kind of situation. Their carriage, like their steampunk carriage with like the fake horse attached and like all the buildings that are like old-timey, but also like... steampunk, basically kind of steampunk. But I really... the sets... were just so amazing. Yeah. Everything was so cool. I really feel like this will win. I think it beats Barbie. I think it's gonna be tough. I think the Barbie practical aspect might help its case, but this, you cannot deny that this is like glorious to look at. Every country they went to was uniquely different. Yeah, you really went to that country. And I really also liked part of her journey when she would go to like each country, and there was like this like chapter, you know what I mean? That's like the scenes of the country were crazy. It's like the black and white of like her floating in the puddle or like walking down the stairs, like that itself was like, give me like a whole sequence of just like that weird trippy situation. Yeah, like you would buy like 3D moving like posters like that. Oh, you know? Yeah. How did you feel about her performance? Emma Stone is a national treasure. Is she? I think she's one of the best we got. I think she's genuinely hilarious. I think she's genuinely fearless. And I think that she can sell almost any character that it doesn't make it look cheesy. I think she put like everything she had in this to like truly selling this character to be like as ridiculous as in the beginning and like as fully realized at the end. And I think she absolutely killed it. She did. It just, for me watching it, it's just that she was so good that she irritated me in the beginning of the movie, and in the end of the movie you loved her. And I don't know if you've been watching The Curse. I haven't, because I don't have like, what is it, Paramount Plus? Whatever, and you can't pirate stuff. You never did this. You Gen Zs are you see, us millennials, we basically created pirating. The reason why they created streaming services is because we pirated shit. Anyhow, but The Curse, she is fantastic in it. Kudos for all of them, and whoever was naked in this movie and had sex. And I want to know what like the casting call was. Like, we need old weird looking man to fuck naked Emma Stone. And then they pull like 14 of the most unique looking men and stuff like that. Like the most normal guy. You remember my favorite John was? The priest. Yeah. And it's like, you've had a gift from God, and he sees a priest walking out. He's like, you should be really having sex with women instead of this. But I like the spider one, the one that crawled around. Oh, that one, I don't think he even wanted to have sex with her. No. He wanted to be Smeagol. He just wanted to be freaky. He just wanted to be Smeagol, my precious, and stuff. And she dug that the most. She was so into it. Yeah. It was interesting to see that, like, because she got that electroshock, that her hair grew like 2 inches like every single day. It's so long, and like it just flows with her. I think the dancing scene is incredible. I couldn't agree with it, but maybe if I watch it now after I've seen the whole movie, I was very irritated at this movie. And the dancing scene? Look, a very big part of the first hour of the movie, I was just annoyed. I'm like, D, what movie are we watching? Because there was a moment in me, I'm thinking to myself, like, D's gonna like regret watching this movie, and there's this hype around it. sort of like Wonka.
No, for the first... Okay. Okay. I'm seeing Wonka on Thursday, and you better be ready to be eat those words. I'm so excited.
By the way, I forgot to
great
tell
reviews.
you if I should come a Wonka or not, if I can make it. I'm sorry if I haven't got it.
Yeah,
literally,
fuck you. I bought my ticket just in case. I'm
Yeah.
going opening day with or without you.
I'm gonna sit right behind you and watch you turn on your
Just
phone.
clap.
Turn on your phone and like take photos of it. Remember like that eraser head guy that just came after us out of the movie
Yes,
theater?
I've got almost murdered at the movies.
Literally, because I was taking
He
some.
took out his phone.
I took out my phone a few times, and this guy literally followed us or waited for
That's
us.
what you get for not following
The rules of
the-
etiquette.
Yeah.
And he came to me and he's all like, why were you taking out your phone? Like, first he said, like, the best place to sit down in the movie theater is here. It's like, but then why did you take out your phone and start taking out your phone and taking
We
pictures?
were talking about the volume level,
Yeah.
so we just assumed he was like giving us advice on where to sit. No, he's saying fuck you for taking out your phone.
I was just very concerned with it. I'm like, D, is this how I die? Is this how it all ends for Sev?
It was weird vibes.
In front of the Batman statue at the AMC Burbank
he
16?
protected you.
I
That's
guess
why you
so.
lived.
Because
You
he's
can't die in front of Batman.
Because he's vengeance. Anyhow, Mark Ruffalo stole the show.
Yeah.
Emma Stone, I was going to say Emma Watson. She needs a break. She needs a good movie. She really needs a good movie. It's like, what are you doing with your life, Emma Watson?
She was in Little Women.
Yeah, Greta.
That was in 2019, but still.
Yeah. But that was like a safe role for her.
Yeah. And
But,
she's
like,
like the most boring character in that movie. But
Yeah.
still.
But like Emma Stone, like if you look at her catalog, she
She's incredible.
does it all. I have she done an action movie like a fighting I don't know, Angela
Isn't
Jolie
she
like
in,
Salt.
like,
She's in the Spider-Man movies, but she's not like.
No, like I was gonna say, isn't she in like Zombieland? Is that not her? I haven't seen it.
I think that's the other one. All the redheads kind of look alike to me.
The other one.
I don't know.
Well, she's in Spider-Man, and she's like great in Spider-Man, but she's not like an action.
Yeah, but like
Starred.
spoiler
She's
alert.
in the Zombieland movies.
Is she?
Yeah.
I don't recall. I generally don't recall her being like an action superhero star.
I think
But
she
is she
takes
gonna-
like the perfect balance of like taking mainstream roles to stay relevant while also working with like directors she finds interesting.
Yeah, she's gonna win her second Oscar.
She's very much like a does one for me, does one for you kind of person. I think she deserves the Oscar for this.
Oh really?
I think it's gonna go to Lily Gladstone though.
Lily Gladstone steals an entire movie surrounded by Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, and she doesn't say a word.
Which is like remarkable. Like the fact that you can stand up between the two of those and you like being the part of the movie that everyone walks out and it's like without her like it doesn't work.
Yeah. But you know what the also issue
I think critics aren't gonna like this movie and I think it's gonna hurt it.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck the critics. They're
Well,
always
let's,
wrong.
Let's not say critics, let's say the old people of the Academy aren't gonna like this movie.
Maybe, or they might have that new wave that are like, hey, we got to be relevant and cool and like this shit now.
Everything Everywhere won last year, so maybe we're finally hit the times.
Yeah, maybe there's an equal balance and enough of the old critics that vote for the Oscars have died somehow, and then like they just injected this new blood. I really also like the side characters, like the people that she meets on the boat. That older woman that kind of
rules.
Yeah, she's like, I used to have fun with my legs. Now I have fun what's between my ears. And then she throws in this line. She's like, do you at least masturbate? She's like, yeah. She's like, thank God you at least masturbate. The black gentleman that basically shows her suffering.
Yeah.
That was really deep. That was so bad that she wanted to kill herself.
Yeah. And she even says like or he comes back and like apologizes and
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
I did that like to hurt you. It like hurts me watching someone so positive and free going through this
And
world
innocent.
and I needed to like stop it and that was my fault. And she's like, no, like I learned, because she's like at that point in her life where she's like, because she has the other conversation. I don't know if it's with the woman of the house or if it's with the like her lady friends.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're talking about like you need to know suffering. It's like the woman of the whorehouse, the like master of the whorehouse or whatever.
Madame.
Sure. That's a much more proper way.
Yes, come on. Do you don't know?
And they say like, oh, you have to know like suffering and all that to be whole. And he was the first step in bringing that to her. But like honestly, having to look down on your beautiful T-top roof to just like screams and cryings of like dead babies is like one way to do it.
You know what it was?
Maybe just like there's pain in this world.
You know what was a great concept that they discovered? It's like, I view this as like the rich, white, privileged person that discovers suffering in the world and is like, oh my God, I need to throw money at this and it's going to solve the problem. And she's like, oh, here's this money. I need to run down and give it to him. It's like, sorry, we've left, madame. And she's like, but we can take this money and help those people. I think that really just shows that's like, look, your money, just throwing at it is not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
They'll probably just kill you and still take your money.
And she's also so naive. Like, she doesn't realize what's happening.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is later on in the movie, she totally fucking forgets that shit. She's like, I can't fix this stuff. I'm just going to go live my life.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that, like, there's so much stuff that, like, you can't fix. And just, like, the lottery of life being born into a circumstance of, like, your situation. Like, she...
A dead corpse.
A dead corpse. Like, you know, but, like, you got brought back to life. Yeah. But, like, even... But in your real life, like, you were, like, original life, you were, like, a piece of shit, horrible person. And, like...
Her mom was, not her.
Oh, yeah. Anyhow, the body she inherits was. Yeah. But, like, she decides to take her own life because, like, she was miserable or whatever it is. And, like, whatever the situation it arose.
Yeah, her husband's fucking awful.
Yeah, he's crazy.
First thing he says to her when he gets to the house, I fear the servants are going to rise up in revolt. So, like, heads up. I'm swinging my gun around to everyone.
Oh, my God. You know, there was just so many awkward, funny moments that you didn't know if you should laugh at it. But this is a movie that I feel bad. You're going to watch it again. You're going to have way more laughs. Mm-hmm. And I went at this movie like halfway and I was like, God, I'm never going to watch this movie again. I'm definitely going to watch this movie again.
I'm definitely going to watch this movie again, but what hurts the rewatchability for me, and this is just in my personal taste, is that they are all surgeons. And there was too much cutting into organs and gross fucking stuff.
Your facial expressions in the cinema were like priceless.
It kept happening, like when it would just cut to it when it wasn't that previously. So I was not like ready for it, and then it was just like, oh, I hated it. Not for me. The rest of it was great though.
Who was the director in this movie? I have no idea.
Yorgos Lanthimos, who's worked with her before for The Favorite. So this is their second collaboration.
The Favorite? What movie is that?
It stars Emma Stone.
Okay.
And what's that about? She plays a royal of a sort. I could not tell you.
Okay. I don't know. Is this the Favorite? I'm sure I've heard of it. I don't know.
England, early 18th century. The close relationship between Queen Anne and Sarah Churchill is threatened by the arrival of Sarah's cousin Abigail Hill.
Oh my God. This is with that lady, and they like kind of like she falls in love with each person and they like becomes besties with the queen and stuff like that. I remember this movie. That was a fantastic movie too.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you know what's fantastic? I know we talked about like the sets and stuff like that, but I remember when they went to his palace, like the general's palace. Uh-huh. It was just gorgeous. Like when they opened up the rooms, I really want to know how much money they spent on this movie, because I think to myself, like, you can make really good movies with like limited budgets, because the Godzilla movie that apparently bangs and it's like killing it.
I got a text message from my friend that just said, please tell me you're gonna go see the Godzilla movie.
I think it cost like $15 million.
Good for them.
Yeah, but it's like an off, like it's not connected to like these Godzilla and Kong movies or whatever it is. It's completely separate. What, like, did you ever come out of this movie thinking about a question that you didn't get an answer? Because I got everything answered at the end. Because for a second, I was like, when he was like the betrothed like fiance was like reading the notes, I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? I couldn't figure it out. Like they stole a brain from somebody else's body. I just couldn't figure it until the end.
Yeah. I thought that they were gonna put God's brain in her husband's body for a second.
Oh.
Because he was died, and they had said like, oh, we have the notes, and I was like, oh, are they gonna keep him alive? But I liked the way what they did instead, which was they goated him.
They goated. He's the goat apparently. It was nice that the father. You notice how many times she called her God? He called him God. It was very interesting, you know, because basically he's God because he created him. That I mean, they did so many smart things with this movie. Now that I look back on it, I just loved every aspect of it now. I was so ready to hate this movie. I was like, fuck.
Why?
Because like the first 30 minutes of the movie, she's like
This is
peeing
the
on
man who
herself.
brought you the lobster.
Look, again, I go into these movies like no idea what I'm walking into sometimes. I generally don't know.
No, the black and white opening of like barely any dialogue, and then she's peeing herself, just like screaming "wee" is like,
Yeah.
oh.
And it was just like, it was kind of like...
And again, I was really excited for this movie, so when we first sat down, I was like, oh my god.
It might sound really weird, but like all the sex that was happening in the movie kind of like annoyed me. I'm like, this is
It
like,
was a lot.
It was just like, for a second, I'm like, it could do with less sex, or just like, you can just show the initiation that sex is gonna happen,
Well,
or a
'cause
montage of sex.
It really bothers me when there's like sex scenes in films that don't serve the story. Like if we're just fucking to fuck and there's like no purpose, like sometimes I'm like, why is this happening? But in the beginning, I felt like that was happening, but then it became so much like a part of the journey of like...
Well, it was because it allowed her to have money and a place to stay and read. It's like, all I gotta do is fuck two guys, and it's gonna take me like 30 minutes, and I have the whole day to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And she just gets to hang out and meet all these interesting people and hear about their lives, you know? It's like, that's why strippers are so scholarly.
So who bared it all better this year, Barry Keoghan or Emma Stone?
Barry Keoghan, in my opinion. No. You know, Barry Keoghan did some really unique things in that movie, you know? Just the whole bathtub thing was just like, you know?
So are you on team bathtub was worse than the grave? Because everyone on the internet is like, the bathtub, and I think the grave is way worse.
There's something romantic. There's something about like fucking someone's grave. Be like, yeah, I got you, fucker.
I guess.
You know, it's like you thought you were great. Like now you're.
I thought the grave was a bit too much.
To be honest, I thought they're all a bit too much. And I'm like, you know, I think people keep trying to push the envelope, trying to be like artsy fartsy, and I'm like, I don't need it.
I'll watch it.
I watch it, but like at the same time, again, do we need that? Like, is that where we're going?
Well, I've seen it 3 times, so I think we need it.
Hey, I'm all for you. I get that. But it was, to me, it was kind of like, there's moments that I feel like when there's like they go too much into a role for a second. Like there's that joke in like what's it called, Tropic Thunder, your favorite movie.
My favorite movie.
Your favorite movie, where like they talk about like winning an Oscar. It's like you can't go full retard, and when you go full retard, like you can't, like it's like, you know, like they talk about like what's his name, that's Tom Hanks, you know, he's like autistic but not like this, or so and so has a disability and stuff like this, but like, but Simple Jack, he's like full retard. And like I feel like when people go full something, like too much, like with all the sex, I feel like it takes away from the show. Yeah, I mean the movie. But like later on, it just shows that like, oh, all you care about is like sex. But then it's like the sex is whatever. It's like me being able to read and making some money. It's like the easiest way I can make this money. And it's interesting that like there's a point that the old lady's advice is like, you know, after a while, like it's what goes between your ears is like the most important thing.
Yeah, she like discovers it and then takes like pleasure in it and then uses it as her gateway into independence, and then cares more about being with someone that she likes than rather than just being with it, and then kind of gives it all up in general. That's like her full journey.
I hear that. I don't think Mark Ruffalo like has played anything as funny as he has in this role.
Do you think he's challenging RDJ for the best supporting actor role?
RDJ?
Robert Downey Jr.
For what?
Best supporting actor at the Oscars.
I don't, you know what the thing too is? Like they don't give comedies Oscars.
I know.
You know what I mean? That's the worst thing. There's been very few times, like, you know, Marissa Tomei won an Oscar for a comedy, My Cousin Vinny. Like, how many times do you hear that, you know? But I absolutely loved him. Every single part he was in the scene, he stole it.
100%.
My favorite part is like when he's like, oh, fuck you, I'm done with you. And he's like always coming back. And there was that scene where he's like yelling her name. It reminded me of that movie where it was like, I think it's Marlon Brando, where he goes, Stella.
Yeah, it's definitely a rip on that because she's on the balcony too.
He's like, Bella. I like the fact that her name was Bella just because of Twilight too. That's the only thing. I always thought it was funny, you know? I don't know. This is a fantastic movie.
I'm a big fan.
This was definitely a light
Camera.
watch.